Yeah, let's not talk about how religious you are. Yes, let's not talk about how well you go to the mosque or you go to the church. Let's not talk about how many times you pray a day. Let's not talk about how long you stand for vigil at night or how long you stand for tahajjud at night. Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about the number of times you recite the Quran or read the Bible. Let's not talk about that for today. Now, let's talk about how well do you relate with people. Let's talk about your character, how you relate with people in your environment, in school, in your workplace. Let's talk about your relationship with people. See, sometimes when you feel you worship God enough and your relationship with people is ill, God is not concerned with you having huge worship without having good connections with people. Not everybody would agree with you whatever you say, especially when you want to be religious. People would contradict what you say. People would say things, but we are not saying you shouldn't hate on them. Regardless, the more religious you are, the more kind you should be. The more religious you are, the more patient you should be. The more religious you are, the more accommodating you should be. But that's not the case today. Today, when the more religious we are, the more judgmental we are. The more religious we are, the more we label people. The more religious we are, the more we tend to look at people, we belittle people based on the status we think we are with God. Meanwhile, on the day of Qiyamah, on the day of judgment, everybody would enter paradise by the mercy of God. Although your works will count. But note, not how much you worship Allah or worship God that takes you to paradise. It is at his own mercy. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that regardless of how much you think you're worshiping God, always try your best to make sure that your relationship with people is well. We see in cases, the more religious you are, the more loving. See, the people who should be the sweethearts in the world today are those who worship God, who are those who are very religious. It is stated that during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, that he gets more kind and kind during the month of Ramadan, because that time he's getting so close to his Lord. Now we see people, the severe times of kingship, just because they feel they want to be religious. Even if your parents worship idol, you have no right whatsoever to talk to them in a disrespectful manner. You can preach to them, you can admonish them, but you ought to keep the ties of kinship going. So that is just it. So what I'm trying to say here in essence is that we should always be mindful of our relationship with people, because that matters a lot. God really is concerned with how we treat each other, even more than how much worship you are there to offer. So let's not destroy our works by having this attitude. Let's try to rectify our relationship with people. I'm not saying you should please people and disobey God. Neither am I saying